What it really comes down to is what Alito is saying is that there is nothing in the like amendments to the Constitution that say you have the right to bodily autonomy.
Yep, that's right.
That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Nothing was in the document that says you have bodily autonomy. That's all that is. Nothing says you have it.
Or at least that's the argument that they're trying to make.
So we're saying that bodily autonomy is not assumed. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for being with us today. This is the Deviance Welcome podcast, brought to you by Volatile Patients. I'm John, and with me, as always, my co-host, Sel. Say hi to the people, Sel.
Hi, the people.
Fantastic. How you doing today, Sel? It's been a while since I asked.
Hi, the people.
That's not what I asked for. How are you doing today, Sel?
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Yes.
This is what I get for letting him smoke before the podcast
How
starts.
high are you?
I'm not very high at all. I can moderate
Sure.
my intake because I don't have the tolerance of a newbie like you do.
Right.
You know, welcome back to the world of the smokers.
Yes.
He has no tolerance, and I'm slightly jealous. All right. So, well, I'm glad you're good.
Yeah.
I am not. The Supreme Court is...
Oh, well, yeah, this sucks.
This sucks bad. This really pisses me off, and I don't even have a uterus they're trying to control.
Right.
Right? But the Supreme Court had a leak.
Yeah.
Which I do not have clarification or an actual citation on this. I had heard that Anonymous had taken credit for this leak, but who knows?
Who knows? Anybody can be anonymous.
Right. Nothing credible as far as I knew.
Right.
So, but the Supreme Court had a leak where one of the justices submitted an opinion. Mm-hmm. A 93-page opinion, I think it was.
Well, my understanding is that this is the majority opinion, but it was like a first draft or something.
Right. And the opinion is to overturn Roe v. Wade. Yeah. In 2022, when we are like smack in the middle of the climate crisis.
Climate crisis, pandemic. That's still going.
Right. We're still trying to figure out if black people equal more than 3/5 of a person in this country.
Right.
Like, there are more important things happening. But in 2022...
Supply shortages, fucking war with a fucking, potential superpower.
A war that's not even ours yet.
Proxy wars between two superpowers.
Yeah, right. All this other shit going on. And this is what the Supreme Court is spending their time on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Everybody saw this coming.
Sure.
Last year when RGB passed away, and within 2 weeks or something.
It was
like
longer
that,
ago than last year. Biden was president
it really?
last year.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That was a couple of years ago, bro.
Man.
This is longer term foresight, so it's actually
what a decade this year has been. Man. Okay, but either way, we all saw this coming.
Sure.
When RGB passed away,
we all
then
saw
Trump expedited Coney Island, whatever the fuck her name, Coney Barrett.
Yeah.
I know her name. We all knew this was coming.
Sure.
But the fact that this actually is happening, and it hasn't happened yet, to be fair as we need to be, just for clarification purposes, this has not been a law that has been overturned or a decision that has been overturned already.
Right.
This is just a leaked opinion of a draft, or a leaked draft of an opinion.
Yes.
But one can assume this is coming down the pipeline.
As the majority opinion.
Right.
I believe it has been
Yay, conservative majority. Cool.
Right. That being said, for some reason, even though it's allegedly the thing that's coming down the pipeline, conservatives are really mad about it. About the fact that it was leaked.
Right. And see, I feel like, abortions are great. Every conservative should get one, right? So why are they so mad, Sal?
Well, I mean, I think we'll get into that later. But I think what we really need... I'm sorry, I just hit that... I went that way and I shouldn't have.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why I went that way and I shouldn't have. what I should have
tried to segue for something we had planned for the second half of the show.
Yeah, like I segued like way early for the wrong thing.
This is what happens when I get sell too stoned before the pod. Circling back.
Sure. But on terms of it not being in effect
Don't
yet,
worry.
it's not even going to be in effect everywhere necessarily when it is overturned, right?
Exactly.
Like, some states do have trigger laws.
Right.
That as soon as it's overturned, those laws go into effect.
Yep. That is the thing that is trying to quiet the crowd. One of the things they're using to try and quiet the crowd is, remember, this is just giving the states the opportunity to do it.
Yes.
Now, granted, I'm sitting here going, why the fuck do you need to do it at all?
Right.
Because you're not me. It's none of your fucking business. And I don't even have a uterus. Right? But I'm pissed. Sure. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
This is absolute bullshit, because why do the states even need
that
level of governance over a person's body?
Exactly.
Tell me why. Tell me why. Here's the one caveat. You can't say religion. You can't
I'm
say
not even going to try to do that.
Why are we regulating women's bodies? I guarantee you it's not the safety of a fetus.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
And it's not caring about... It's not all lives matter, because once the life is born, they don't give a fuck about it.
Well, hang on. Here's the thing. Is that in a way... It is about the fetus because they want there to be an abundance of workers. They want there to be a surplus of workers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if there's too many of us to do the number of jobs that there are, then they have us over a barrel.
Right.
Right.
So they're breeding workers. Not people, workers.
Right.
Producers.
That's their mentality on that one.
Yeah.
So if you die, you die. If you don't, then you can get thrown into the workforce and become a worker.
Yep. And if you were one of the kids who was likely to be aborted, I'm sure you would be in a less than ideal situation, which would
absolutely.
only help you take a shittier job.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Awesome. But they can't say that.
Right.
Can't call them producers. No, because every life matters. I get into these conservative arguments all the time because I love poking. I do. I love poking. It gets me my dopamine. It helps me when I'm pissed off.
Sure.
You know, to just go in and just poke a little bit, start me a fight, and then just periodically dissect arguments and things like that.
You're riling them up, huh?
I am. I'm riling them up.
Jesus.
I am. Because
they're riled enough, John.
I know, but I'm annoyed. So I enjoy going and poking holes in the argument and leaving them. Leaving them there. Just going, I don't have anything else to say. And that's when you get, well, have a good night. I don't have time to explain it to you.
Oh, no.
And that's how you know you've won, right? Because they don't have anything else. So they go polite now and go, all right, well, I'm going to be on my merry way. And it's like, yeah, that's what most people say when they don't have a comeback. I get into these arguments all the time on Facebook, and maybe I should start calling them producers. And the conservatives would be a little happier because, man, they do not like it when you liken a fetus, an unborn fetus, to a parasite. They do not. Oh, man. I used that word. I threw it out there specifically like fucking a baited hook. You know what I mean? Into a barrel full of hungry fish. And, man, I got, oh my God, you're likening a fetus to a parasite. I'm like, an organism that is dependent solely on a host.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
is that not a synonymous with a parasite?
It is undoubtedly a parasitic relationship.
Right. I'm not saying they are exactly the same.
Sure.
I'm saying akin to.
Sure.
Right? So, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong on that front.
See? But they hate it.
Sure.
Oh, and I love that they hate it. I don't know. Maybe
you're trolling.
I am. I'm fucking trolling because some of the shit you hear.
I know.
I decided to leave that tangent because we do that tangent all the time.
John fired up today.
I'm really irritated about this. This is fucking absurd. The document itself, I did not go ahead and read it. Did you?
No, I really don't want to go through 93 pages of fucking Alito's opinion.
You've read other crazy stuff, I figured maybe you had actually done it.
I've seen some snippets.
Okay,
that people have posted from it.
Okay, so we're going to go over those snippets because I did look at a little bit of a summary.
Okay.
As drafted back in February, it's been around a while, this would end a half-century guarantee of federal constitutional protection of abortion rights and allow each state to decide whether to restrict or ban abortion.
Sure. 50 years?
50 years.
50 years?
Yep, that's great.
So like everybody who it actually applies to in terms of just age and fertility, right, has lived their entire life with this as a right.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. The entire life.
And now in some places, not now, but soon, in some places, it will be gone.
Yeah. Oh, Texas is already talking about it. Good old Abbott.
Sure.
Friend of the show.
Sure. It was probably their case that was before the Supreme Court that is, contributing to the ruling.
Yeah. Almost assuredly. I mean? Alito's, one of his main arguments.
Hang on a second.
Yep.
Here we go.
Take the time you need.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right. Hit me.
Strapped in? Alito argues that the 1973 abortion rights ruling was an ill-conceived and deeply flawed decision that invented a right mentioned nowhere in the Constitution and unwisely sought to wrench the contentious issue away from the political branches of government.
Okay.
What is the problem with wrenching this contentious issue away from the government?
Right.
What is the problem?
There isn't a problem. I mean, like...
For those of you who can't see me, I am, showing my whole wingspan here. Like, yup, what the fuck?
What it really comes down to is what Alito is saying is that there is nothing in the amendments to the Constitution that say you have the right to bodily autonomy.
Yep, that's right.
That's what it ultimately comes down to.
Nothing was in the document that says you have bodily autonomy. That's all that is. Nothing says you have it.
Or at least that's the argument that they're trying to make.
So we're saying that bodily autonomy is not assumed.
Right.
That's where we're at.
Right.
Awesome. Fucking awesome.
But then those people will turn around and say, like, the individual is more important than the state, is more important than the nation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, they'll turn around and do that shit, which is fucking insane. Like, no, really. I like the phrase, they want a government small enough to fit inside your uterus. That's
wow. Yep. That's I chuckled first. It's one of those chuckles where you're like, that's clever. And then you think,
it's awful.
It's true. Like, it's funny until you realize that's true. And then you're like, oh, now it's just sad. Mm-hmm. And it is. This is sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard countless stories about women that have gone in to get their tubes tied. And they're asked a litany of questions.
Sure.
One of which being...
Are you over 25 or 45 or something like that? Like, it's some absurd, some absurd age, and you have to have, like, permission from your husband.
Permission from your husband. It is 2022, y'all.
And that's, like, everywhere.
Permission from your husband.
Right.
I have friends of mine that have said that they've went to get this procedure and were flat out told no. Mm-hmm. Single women. Mm-hmm. Who were flat out told no.
Sure.
Because if you grow older and want to have a child, then you won't be able to.
Right.
Aren't these the same people that are like consequences of your actions, pay your student loans type? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Exactly.
What do we...
Exactly. Like when it comes down to the personal responsibility that people actually want to take, they're not allowed.
Nope. But for TMI here. I got a vasectomy a few years ago.
Okay.
And I walked in and the doctor was like, how old are you? I'm 30. And he was like, do you want any more kids? No. That's why I'm here to see you. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, pretty sure. Like, you have kids? I'm like, yeah, I have one. And he's like, you don't want any more? No, that's why I'm here to see you.
They want you to hit replacement rate though, John.
And and then at that point, he was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get you scheduled. Like, it was a matter of 4 or 5 questions.
Sure.
3 of them being just a recapitulation of the one before, just to make sure.
Right.
Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was done.
Right.
It was scheduled, and in like 3 weeks, I was snipped.
For
the men who listen, and think that vasectomies are scary, so you're not just going to go get one.
Uh-huh.
I was golfing 3 days later. It's not that bad. It's really not. A guy can do that anytime.
Anytime.
And a woman has to have...
I think they have an age limit for that for dudes too, but I think it's significantly younger.
Maybe. But even still, why?
Right.
If I'm paying you an ungodly amount of money, or my insurance company in this case is also paying you an ungodly amount of money for this procedure...
Right.
Just take my fucking money. Like,
that would be capitalism.
Right. What the fuck?
The thing that is supposed to be the ultimate law of the land. You know what I mean? Like just let the market do the thing.
Right. It's none of your fucking business why. I have the money to pay you for the procedure that I want. It doesn't matter.
Right.
When I walk in and fucking buy a Dr. Pepper from a store, do you need to know the reason why? Or can you just take my fucking money?
Right.
When I buy a pack of cigarettes,
well,
I don't
if you're
smoke.
in New York, actually,
okay,
you can't get a Dr. Pepper.
Okay, fine. But if I'm buying a fifth off the shelf and I'm of legal age, right?
Yeah,
I could have a drinking problem.
Mm-hmm.
But is it your responsibility to ask me why and then double check me unless I walk in sloshed?
Sloshed.
Am I already?
You're already.
But like, you don't do that. So why does it matter in
you
terms
have to
of
break
reproduction?
some other crime first before they give a shit.
Exactly. So why does this matter?
So why? Right.
It breaks my heart when I hear stories about like women who want this procedure.
Sure.
Because they don't want to get pregnant, and then someone tells them no.
Right.
I'm sorry, which of your bills are they paying this month?
Right.
If they're not paying your bills, they shouldn't get to tell you fucking anything. Right?
I mean,
isn't that freedom?
Sounds like it to me.
But here we are. Another quote was, the inescapable conclusion is that a right to abortion is not deeply rooted in the nation's history and traditions. So
who cares?
Right. Who cares?
Who cares? That is not even the point.
No. I read something somewhere that I didn't quote, or I didn't cite, but I read somewhere that, you know, the origins of abortion were started. The risk was obviously much higher when they began because they didn't refine the procedure. Right. Right. So
they were doing it under some sketchy conditions.
Right. There were bits of issues there, and that was one of the reasons for contention, and that one's fair. But it's 2022. Right. Like,
this shit's down to a science, bro.
Right.
Literally.
Absolutely.
Like, literally,
that's what it is. They don't like science. They hear science and they're like, fake news.
Right. Right.
In this was one of my favorite parts. In the draft, Alito tries to touch on like liberal happy points in previously overturned decisions. Like, Plessy versus Ferguson.
Sure.
Right. For those of you who don't know, that was the desegregation of schools.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, we overturned this one and you guys were happy. Okay. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. We said that black people and white people can go to the same school.
Right. Which also, if you note, does not, follow the deep traditions of the country.
Right. Exactly.
This is some of those deep traditions are fucked up and we should stop doing them.
It's called growth, y'all. But no, we want to keep the same because those people are safe and secure in their privilege.
Yes, because they can go and do whatever they want.
More privileges.
They got money.
That's right. Another one that was funny to me was that the document also tries to illustrate a highly disproportionate amount of aborted fetuses are black. So people who are pro-abortion are also anti-black people because a higher majority of aborted fetuses are black.
That one kind of holds water to one extent and one extent only, in the sense that Sanger, like the woman who started Planned Parenthood or whatever, I think it was Margaret Sanger. I don't know.
Anyway, the history, but I count on you for that stuff.
She was all about wanting this to be a thing in order to like cull the black population.
Okay.
So that one actually, like, as an accusation, it's got a little bit of history that's like fair.
Okay, but until Planned Parenthood is going door to door,
right,
and going, you look like you need an abortion.
You get an abortion,
right? Exactly.
You get an abortion.
Fucking,
the Oprah of abortion.
Exactly. Until that point,
sure,
we can go ahead and call that no. I mean, we can put that in the no column because it's not happening. It's by choice, right? They're not going out there and seeking the black people that need the abortions.
They have just created economic conditions where black people are more likely to get an abortion because, like, it sucks out there, y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
you don't want to bring a child into it. Like, you are taking the moral position that bringing a child into this is not good for the child.
Right.
You have created those conditions.
Right.
If you want to fix it, fix the conditions.
Fix the conditions. But we can't do that because that takes the people in power out of power, and we can't have that.
Right.
It doesn't really take them out of power. They're just scared that that's where it's going to go because
It'll
they have to give a
reduce
little
their
bit of power.
Right. They will have to lose some power.
It's the slippery slope
of losing power.
Once I give up 5% of my power, the other 90% is very much at risk.
Once my one light bulb goes out, everything's going to go out.
Right. Like Christmas lights or something. Jesus. You know, a recent poll from ABC and the Washington Post said that 54% of people think Roe versus Wade should be upheld. Mm-hmm. 28% say it should be overturned. Mm-hmm. And 18% said they didn't care.
Right.
So a vast majority of the people that care, think leave it alone.
Right. And then
there's no reason to fuck with the 50-year-old decision. And
then I heard, what was it, 28 and 18 for the don't likes versus the don't cares?
Right.
So you have a huge majority that thinks this is important.
Yep.
And is in favor of.
Yep.
There's a bunch of people who don't give a fuck one way or the other.
Right. Nearly 20%.
Right. And then there's a minority from there, a small, like what we're talking about,
vast minority,
like 1/6.
Yeah, we're talking
1/5 or something. What?
Right. If you pull the people that cared one way or another, less than half of that, want it to be overturned.
Right.
So it's less than half of a majority of people who care.
Right.
So like you didn't even get the majority of the people who care. Like you are far outweighed on this, but the Supreme Court happens to be favored the other direction. So fuck the people, right?
Right.
We're just gonna do this thing. And why are we doing this again? Oh, Christianity. I'm sure.
John's ready to get out in the streets.
I'm so angry. I'm so angry.
John, why are we doing a podcast and why aren't we in the streets?
I've been on social media at least. I'm lighting them up. I'm doing what I can.
John be posting.
Yeah. You do have an interest. You did bring up an interesting point that there was an inordinate amount of conservatives who are unhappy that this information leaked.
Yeah. It's really weird. Like, because you would think that this is the thing that this has been the long game the whole time, right? This is why they do everything that they do, is in terms of getting the right people in the right places to make this happen.
This is your signal that Trump kept his promise.
50-year project
coming together.
Right? So, but it goes back further than Trump. It goes back so far to make this happen. They've been on this for 50 years.
Yeah, I was speaking specifically to the campaign promise that Trump made.
Oh, yeah.
To say that he would put together a court that would overturn Roe v. Wade.
Oh, yeah. He made that happen.
Yep.
For sure. They wanted this to happen, but they're real mad that it leaked.
Why is that?
I think it has to do with, one, we are going into campaign season. Mm-hmm. So now having another front in the campaigning war to talk about is something that they didn't want to have to do. If the win was already there and they knew that they could cut resources even talking about that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And put those resources into other shit, then it's a benefit for them.
God damn it, you just fired up the other side.
Right. Exactly.
It's like in football where one team says something about guaranteeing a win against the other team. Mm-hmm. And then the other team takes that article and slaps it up on the wall in their locker room when they practice all week.
Sure.
They're like, oh, yeah?
Right.
And it fires them up.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and the other
you just
thing,
gave them bulletin board material.
Yes, and the other thing is that as a result of the decision itself, it is a huge windfall for the Democrats.
How so?
So, like, the Democrats have notoriously been, like, pretty shitty on their like ground game in state level organizing, right? State level, like, voter turnout and stuff in their favor.
Okay.
Right? So now the thing that is the thing that the majority of Americans are in support of is now a state level issue.
Right.
Which now means that people who are in support of women's bodily autonomy,
vast majority, as we've already illustrated.
Right. Those people are now going to have incentives to get involved in state level politics.
Right.
Because normally if we were trying to get anything done through Democrats, we were trying to do it at a federal level.
Yeah. See, this is why I have a guy like Sel in my corner, because I don't get to know all this stuff. I don't know politics this way, so I wouldn't have even considered that idea.
Yeah, this is huge for them on state level politics.
I wouldn't have even thought of that. They were just bitching to bitch in my mind.
Yep.
And like I was kind of trying to wonder, why are you so mad?
Because
but
if you have like a huge turnout starting to happen, you have blue states going solidly blue.
Right.
You have purple states going blue.
Right.
You have red states going kind of purple.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? If you get that level of turnout.
Right.
Because if there are people that are that committed to putting people into positions in state level politics to kind of work in their favor, that's where it's going to go.
Yep. That's interesting.
And that's why they're mad about it. It has
And
nothing to do with sanctity of the blah, blah, blah.
Of course not.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No. We've already illustrated before on this podcast, and I'm pretty sure numerous others, that they don't give a fuck about the fetus once it's born.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's not about that.
Except as a worker.
Right. Except as a worker. And poor workers can show up fine.
Oh, you know what? One of the other things that I do remember seeing from the Alito thing was that he was against this because it was against bodily autonomy, because if we allowed a right of bodily autonomy, then that would like open up the doors for things like drug use and prostitution and
oh my god, all these things,
things that people could do.
Jesus, how dare they? Why do you think that matters to that man?
Shit, I don't know, man. Like, I really feel like once you get to a certain age and get involved in government for a certain point, you just don't want other people to have any fun.
Well, and I was kind of trying to tee it up because I feel like the no drugs and no prostitution is, as I've
also
illustrated,
a violation of bodily autonomy and get your hands off my fucking body.
Right? Well,
unless I ask you to.
I was going to say that.
And then move slow.
I'm
sorry.
I was going to say that I feel like the no drugs, no prostitution, no abortion, no fun, right? They all come from religious beliefs. I kind of feel like. Feel free to push back. I'm not nearly as educated as you in that either. But I feel like that's largely the case. I feel like a lot of the reason we're doing this is because religion.
Yeah,
and
I mean, basically.
And listen,
that's where it started.
If you are right,
or racism, like overt racism,
right?
Religion or overt racism.
And a lot of the arguments I hear are coming from people who are, we're all God's gift and we're all God's children, and you're killing and defying God and stuff. And it's like, who's God? Okay, whose?
Right.
Because we have a right to our own fucking belief system in this country, on the prompter anyway.
Right.
Unless, of course,
well,
we're on the Supreme Court that all happen to believe the same thing. If you can get a majority of the Supreme Court that does, quote, God's will.
Sure.
Right. Then God's will is no longer what the Bible says. God's will is what the fucking Supreme Court says.
Right.
Right. As long as they're doing it like that. Well, and I feel like that is the issue. We still have a vast majority of people in this country that swear up and down that this country was built on God. And it's like, okay, you can believe that all you want, but stay the fuck out of my belief system.
John is like, listen, you can do all of your historical revisionism inside your religion that you want to do, but then when you come out into the state, you have to be dealing with reality.
You are dealing with other people. Deal with other people, or stay in your fucking cave.
Right. They're just trying to make their whole states into a cave. That's all.
Right, and that's not okay, because other fucking people live there.
Right.
Right, we're talking about, what was that? You said, what was the quote you said about the individual being most important?
The individual is more important than the state is more important than the federal government.
Not when you're talking about society, right? Community. These things inherently mean many.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Not just individual.
Right.
Sure, the individual matters, but you're sharing this planet.
Right.
You are sharing this country. You're sharing your state with other people. Lots of other people.
Who have lots of different ways of looking at things.
Exactly. And none of them fucking hurt you until you poke your nose into their business. So if you stop doing that, you go your way, they go their way. You can meet in the middle with the things that you both happen to like.
Sure.
And then you can not worry about it when something, when they're doing something that you don't like, unless it actually bothers you.
Right.
But instead,
there needs to be a victim.
Right. And I'm so...
And on this one, they're like, the baby's the victim. The clump of cells. The clump of cells.
I had a conservative tell me that it was in response to my parasite comment. He also didn't like it. Liking to a parasite, blah, blah, blah. Babies' brains start developing in days or whatever, and the nervous system, and they can feel pain, and one of the things I put in my argument was that it's likens to a parasite and can't reason. Because the meme was the one where you have the pregnant lady, and by her mouth, it's the bubble that says, "My body, my choice." And then down at her pregnant belly, there is a bubble that comes out and says, "My body, my choice," right? From the pregnant woman's belly. So my comment was something akin to, yeah, let's give the responsibility to something akin to a parasite who can't reason. And this guy comes back and tells me they can reason. They can flip over when they're uncomfortable, and they reposition so that they can come out. And I was like, the age of reason is 7 years old.
That's
7 years is the age of reason.
No. I really want to unpack the notion that responding to stimuli is reason.
How about that? Isn't that amazing? Oh my God. And that's
how low the bar is.
Right.
You can respond to a poke. You're reasoning.
That's it. Right.
Oh my God.
Yep. That's reasoning.
Oh, Jesus.
But this is the level of education you're dealing with. And it's like, look, I'm not going to kill you if you didn't know that the age of reason was 7 years old. But before you make that argument, quick Google search. I knew that it definitely was not, in a fetal stage of development.
I'm sorry about bumping the mic, but holy fuck.
And I knew that it was further down the line than, initial birth. Sure. Or
Sure. There's a lot of complexity to reason.
I didn't know that it was statistically around 7 years old.
Okay.
So when this guy gave me the argument, just so I could be clear in my rebuttal, I typed into Google. Actually, I spoke into Google. What is the age of reason?
It's newfangled technology.
7 years old. I'm like, this moron wanted to come at me with like a whole paragraph without capitalization or periods. But a whole paragraph.
Hey, at least he wasn't shouting.
And he couldn't bother to just Google the age of reason.
I mean, look, John, you're dealing with somebody who's probably 77 years old.
You might be right.
You know what I mean? Like you frequent Facebook. There's some old motherfuckers
and I'm on conservative Facebook. It's even worse. It's even older.
Ooh.
Right.
65 minimum.
And these are the people that have rights to vote and are out there, being the quote silent majority that doesn't seem to ever shut the fuck up. Right? But these are the people I'm contending with.
They really want grandkids.
Okay. Cool. I really want a toilet seat made out of solid gold.
Everybody needs to go tell Grandma and Grandpa to cool it.
I mean, it's just...
That's the state we're at in this country.
Yeah, you know, I want a lot of things that I don't get. Deal with it. You're supposed to be the age that just sucks it up and deals with it, right? Well, get to it. Because I'm tired of fucking hearing it. I'm tired of arguing about it. And I'm tired of people thinking they can govern other people's bodies. This is not okay. Yeah. Not. And I'm pissed. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been Deviance Welcome. You can check out more episodes and get access to the latest everything on the website, volatilepatients.com. There you can sign up to our mailing list and tell us what kind of topics you'd like to hear. Check out the sock meds if that's your thing. Facebook.com/volatilepatientsmusic.
At VOLATYLPATIENCE on Twitter. Spelled weird because Twitter did not give us enough characters.
Thank you, Twitter. On Instagram at volatile_patients, spelled correctly because Instagram did give us enough characters.
Thank you, Instagram.
On YouTube at Deviance Welcome or the Volatile Patients YouTube or the Volatile Patients specific channel at Volatile Patients. Check out the Deviance Welcome Facebook group where you can continue the discussion with us. Remember to give us a review on Apple and get out of women's uteruses.
Unless they want you there, but they don't.
Right. Unless
have
you
to
have explicit
individually
permission.
invite you.
Right. Without invitation, go the fuck away. Worry about something else. And with that, we'll see you next week. Say bye to the people, Sal.
Bye to the people.